everyone, and welcome to I'm the Mama podcast, where we discuss the ins, the outs, and everything in between of being a mom. I'm your host, Ashley Ellen. I'm so excited to be joining you today as we are going to be, I'm not going to give you a teaser, but I know you see my wonderful guest that's on with me today. I'm going to introduce him in just a moment. But before we begin, I always like to start off with a shout out of the day. And the shout out that I want to give is to jobs that actually take time and recognize that everybody and every day is not going to be the same, especially when it comes to kids. So they allow time for like flexibility, and they encourage you to take mental health days for yourself when you need to. And so to me, I think that's a true benefit when it comes to looking at companies. It's not always about the dollar amount. It's about what they are providing to you. And I feel like that is an amazing, amazing benefit because your mental health is so important. But today, I get the wonderful pleasure of discussing fatherhood with a dear friend of mine that we call him Rook. And first and foremost, Rook, thank you so much for taking out the time to join me today in discussing such a topic. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Appreciate you being here. And so, again, we're going to be talking about fatherhood. And first, if you don't mind just taking a moment to introduce yourself to our viewers, let them know what you have going on for yourself, and we'll dive into fatherhood afterwards.
For sure. I'm Ruck, aka Brotha Z, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I moved to Atlanta when I was 22. I joined the fire department. Shortly after, I went to Georgia State, got a bachelor's in psychology, got a master's in education and counseling. I started my own business, Holistic Health and Fitness. I have 2 daughters. They're the pride of my life. And I'm just out here trying to make it,
I know that's right. Look, I know what you mean by that. Not only do you have a bachelor's, you got a master's. Go ahead then with your bad
But
self.
so, I do a little song
And look,
intellectually.
you didn't elaborate on your podcast. You also have a podcast.
I have a podcast, The Knowledge Trap, where we discuss fitness, health. We do a little social news. I do interviews. So it's a wide ranging podcast. I don't limit myself, but I started a podcast. Check it out, The Knowledge Trap. It's a lot of good advice on there, and we're trying to get rolling.
I know that's right. Look, we all got our foot in something trying to get going. And yes, be sure to check out his podcast. It's an amazing podcast where, like he mentioned, he interviews a lot of people based off of different topics, and each and every one of them have their own different insights. So definitely be sure to check him out on YouTube. And you'll see your girl there as well. So be sure to tune in. But today, we're here to talk about fatherhood. And so, Ruck, we've known each other for a while now, probably about 10, 11 years, if I really get down to the nitty gritty of numbers. And one thing that I wasn't aware of within our recent conversation, I wasn't aware that you had sole custody of your 2 daughters. I know you have beautiful daughters. I've kind of watched them based off of social media, watching them grow up. And so if you wouldn't mind telling us how old your girls are when you first gained custody and how this decision has changed your life.
Right. My daughters are 6 and 7. I've been there since day one, since birth. When they were about 2 and 3, me and their mom went through a divorce. It was a messy divorce, probably one of the ugliest you can imagine. Some orders in place to protect people, to protect me, burglary, assault. I had other issues with PD where I didn't feel protected, and I had my car broken into, stolen, hit and run, house broken into, property stolen. And it always felt like I wasn't protected by PD within the divorce and in general. But soon as I voiced my frustrations, it was always the threat of me being locked up. Right. That's the plight of a Black man. So during the divorce, it was just a lot of things going on. And eventually my ex did some things where the court decided she wasn't fit to have custody of the kids. But it wasn't really anything to do with me. I was just fighting for my rights as a dad.
Yeah.
When we first got divorced, they gave me slightly majority visitation. I had 4 days to her 3. She really didn't like that. She did some things to try to spite me and put the kids in some situations. That's the deepest I can go because I'm going through custody battles again. But I gained sole custody about 3.5 years ago. I've
Nice.
always been there since day one. And then when we split, I had majority custody. And about 3.5 years ago, I gained sole custody. And that tells you something was going on. Black man, sole custody of daughter. So it's not what I wanted, but it's the situation I ended up in.
Yeah, I mean, again, when we were talking and you said that, I was kind of drawn back, like, wait, what? You got sole custody? Because I know we were talking about like joint custody. You're like, nah, so. So I was like, wait a minute. I was unaware of that. And not only that, just hearing what you're saying, it's sad how our society is set up where, you are trying to protect yourself, you're trying to protect your daughters, but at the same time, you became a target. You know,
Mm,
not only did you become a target, which again, I can't get into the nitty gritty because I don't know all of the details, but you were a target to PD and they're supposed to be there to protect and serve.
right, right, right.
So I
It
cannot
was
even imagine that. And again, like you said, being a Black male, that would be if at any moment that you hope that you have some type of support, when you're not doing anything wrong or, when you're just trying to protect yourself. So I'm sorry to hear that, but I am happy to hear that, you have your girls, they're happy. And then for one, that you've been there since day one. So tell me how this has, changed your life, if it has at all.
I mean, it definitely changed my life. Just having kids in general, it slowed me down and helped me prioritize. As soon as I looked into my daughter's eyes, it's like, that's the meaning. you know,
Yeah.
I'm out here trying to gain a legacy. I also stopped looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. Like I said, I was treated unfairly by the system. I'm not scared to say that. I spent so much money on lawyer fees. It's approaching $30,000.
Mm,
I haven't received 1 ounce of child support. I'm owed almost $50,000, so that's like an $80,000 swing, not including the time I missed from work. But I still had to make sure my kids was okay. I had to take more time off with sole custody. So it just seemed like it was set up for me to fail. But if it wasn't for some devoted friends and family who really was there in the darkest moments, I ain't gonna lie, Ashley, in the midst of going through everything, I always been the one to reach out and help people,
mm-hmm,
but I needed help. I was so broke and so poor, it was scary.
mm.
And the system wasn't coming through. So it was definitely some dark moments. And I just appreciate having good friends, good family helping me pull through because it took every ounce of it. And like I say, the system at times it just seemed like it failed me, and I'm still going through it. So I'm happy you had me on so I can just voice what I've been going through.
Yeah, because again, that's why I wanted to focus this on fatherhood because I'm sure there are a lot of untold stories,
Mm,
of situations like what you're saying. Like we're so used to, us hearing about these situations, but on the other end, from a woman's perspective of, what she's done or how she's not able to get child support and things like that. So I think it's very important that we hear it from a male's perspective as well. And so again, thank you for taking out the time to be transparent and be vulnerable with discussing such a situation that not only have you been going through your daughter's lives, but that it sounds like you're still going through. It's still not finished yet. So,
right.
kudos to you for pushing forward, regardless of when the road seemed to get very narrow. You still found a way to squeeze through. You know what I'm saying? And so, keep going. Everything gonna work out in your favor. Now, on a lighter note, what are some things that you enjoy doing with your girls? You got two beautiful, amazing girls. You said 6 and 7, so very
Mm-mm.
close in age. What are some things y'all enjoy doing since you have them full time?
Everything. I enjoy doing everything with my daughters, especially the extracurricular activities. I'm engaged daily. The
Mm-hmm.
homework, the helping them understand the reason for chores and just being disciplined. But I take them out. I do all types of sports with them, keep them active, and I'm even engaged in their extracurricular activities that's organized. I'm almost like a coach, you know.
Right.
Last year, I almost got banned from the sideline in soccer. I was going
I can
crazy back,
imagine.
like when I played football. It's just magical with them, you know. They always keeping me on my toes and asking me new questions and stuff. So I really enjoy doing everything. I don't mean to be cliche, but my daughters, they're my rock and they keep me
Hey,
going. So
if anybody know, I know, because that daddy-daughter dynamic and relationship is like none other. And the same way that you're expressing how important it is to you as a father, I feel the same way when it comes to me and my son. Now, I'm sure if I had a daughter, and I'm sure if you ever had a son, the love and the, it's going to be there, but it's a little bit different because you're going to prepare them to not only be headstrong, as far as just being wonderful girls as they grow older into ladies, but you're also going to instill to them, hey, you don't need no man.
right.
Your daddy got you. Look, your daddy is going to show you, he's going to help you, and he's going to guide you on the type of man that you need to look for too. So look, I get that. I am going to ask this other question. Why do you think it's important for the role that you are providing to your daughters? Why do you think that's important?
First off, my dad was absent.
Mm.
So I long for that relationship, especially up into my early 20s when I kind of let go. My dad ain't shit, you
Mm.
know. I'm just being honest. And a lot of people, they beat around the bush, but I gave him opportunity after opportunity. He didn't ever step up. So I feel how I feel to have a parent that's void. And they're kind of experiencing the same thing, but it's the other way around. Like they're girls and it's the opposite parent. So I don't ever wanted to be like that. And I've already felt it. So it always gave me the extra incentive to really step up and be there.
So I wonder, even that, like, yeah, like I said, the daddy-daughter bond is like none other, but, you know, as a little girl, just kind of thinking about myself, you know, if I didn't have my mom around, because there are still things that your mom, I mean, that becomes like your best friend that your mom teaches you as you get older and as you become a woman. It's the father doesn't really know. The mother is the one that's giving you that insight on that. So it is going to be important, and I know you have a village that your girls are surrounded by, so they do have woman figures in their lives that they can come
Right.
to. But again, it is always great, if they could have their mother there, but
Right.
definitely understand.
My mom, um, my cousins, their aunts, their grandma on their mom's side, their cousins on their mom's side, the lady that does their hair. It's numerous ways that they get their feminine energy and people that
Good.
step up to fill the void. But yes, one day their mom hopefully gets it together and we'll see. But until then, yeah, numerous people step up and kind of fill that void because there are some things and some energy. I can do almost everything, but woman definitely has a role, you
Yep.
know.
Yep. And it's great that they have that ability to tap into that. And I love something that you just said. You said their mother's mom. So I
Mm,
love the fact that even though mom may not be involved, her side is still involved.
right.
And so that is, to me, still a beautiful thing, because they're still being able to engage with both sides of the family. So yeah, love that, love that. So I do have next question, like, so what so far would you say has been like the proudest moment of fatherhood?
Number one, both of my daughters are in gifted.
Mm.
One just got tested to be in the gifted program for third grade, and she passed. The other one got tested in kindergarten. She's already in gifted,
Oh, wow.
going through with flying colors. So I didn't have anything to do with it. The teachers noticed it. They tested them. Both of them qualified. That's great. Then probably second place was the first time my oldest daughter scored a goal. Uh, they played soccer last fall, and she went down, weaved past three people, and kicked the goal in. And
Hey.
she forgot all about sportsmanship. She running downfield with her hand like this, high five me. I'm running on the field, high fiving. I was almost in a trance, you know. That was a really proud moment just to see us practice. She didn't know anything about soccer the first week. We started practice late, and by the second game, she was scoring a goal. And yeah, like I said, I was in a trance, and we just meet at midfield, high fiving, not worried about sportsmanship. Yeah, it's just so many moments with my daughters, but I love me some sports, you
Yeah.
know.
And I'll say one thing, like the fact that you are involved, like you are present, the fact that you take out the time to help them with what they need help with. You know, she didn't know soccer, and so you took out the time to help with what you know about soccer. But that's going to be something that will always be a part of her as she continues to grow. She's always going to remember these little moments, or they are going to always remember these moments of daddy being there. And in all honesty, as they continue to get older, that's going to be something that's so important in their life, and they're not going to ever forget it. They're going to always acknowledge it, no matter how many attitudes you start to get when they get older. They're still going to remember these things and appreciate the time that you spent with them. So we've talked about the proudest moments. What would you say has been the biggest challenge so far?
They just constantly growing. Every day they asking me something new. You have to kind of grow as a parent with your kids. Just like they're quickly into a new physical stage, they're quickly into a new mental stage, a new emotional stage. They're always growing. So you have to adapt the way you ask questions, and when they surprise you with things that you didn't know that they knew, you don't want to run them off by, overreacting.
Right.
So I'm always aware and trying to, give them the best advice without running them away or having them scared to approach me with information. And they just at that stage right now, like I said, they 6 and 7, they almost 7 and 8. They ask me about everything: the sky, the grass, mom, everything. It is just like, but like I said, it's great.
Yeah, I feel
it's
like
great.
this generation, like compared to our generation, like things that this generation talks about and just what they're exposed to now. Like we were in high school or like going into high school with things that they know in elementary school. So like
Right.
with my niece and nephew, like we be having conversations and I'm like, just like you said, like I don't want to run them away. I want them to always feel comfortable coming to talk to me about things. And I don't want to chastise them for asking me questions. But sometimes I'm just like, ooh, how do you know about this? All right, Ashley, let's think about it. How are we going to approach this conversation? Like, do we
Right.
want to keep it raw or do we want to put a little filter on it, but give them a little bit of insight? That way they're not going to ask questions from nobody else. So I feel you there. And yeah, daddy, just be ready. So are you currently dating at this time? And if so, I'm just wondering when it comes to, because I'm sure you have dated, I'm sure since the divorce you're right, you have not dated, not dated anybody. But I'm just wondering, like, what are some things that you're very particular about, when it comes to a potential companion being around your daughters?
Number one, I just look for traits like loving. I like somebody with a general loving spirit, patience, a love for kids. Some people don't like kids,
Mhm.
And if you don't like kids or you jealous of our relationship, I don't need you around. I need my daughters around, good energy, So it's just the basics, somebody that I trust around my kids. I have a companion for 3 years. She's great with my kids. I trust her. As soon as she came in, they liked her energy. In the beginning, the first date that I went on, the girl made a statement about, because she asked me, did I have kids? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, where they at? And I told her I had sole custody. Um, the first thing she said was, oh, you know them girls need their mom. You should give them back. Yes, this the first date I was on.
You
And that
did you walk out? Did you walk out of
I
dinner?
didn't
Out of
walk out. You know the old rug. I should have walked out on her, but I
you're like,
played
and
it.
you paying for my food. Bye.
um, that was the last date though. But I played it cool and made it to the end. It just struck a nerve because it's like you don't know everything I've been through. I really do
Absolutely.
love my daughters. This isn't for power or nothing. And I didn't decide that I got sole custody, but I had to understand where she was coming from. She had a kid and it passed.
Mm,
It
okay.
passed. So she probably was coming from a place of hurt. So I tried to understand that, but I couldn't deal with it. That was the last date. And it felt really disrespectful not to know the background and that I really care. In my mind, I can do everything a female can do, but lactate. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was one of the experiences early on. Luckily, it was the only one like that.
Okay.
But that was one of my early experiences. Eventually, I found my companion now, and it's just been good ever since. No problems between her and my kids.
Nice. Now that's good. For one, just to backtrack to that date. And again, I do understand we have to kind of think about what that person may be going through. So yes, understood. But like you said, that's for one, that's not something to even say on a first date if you intend to move forward, for one, if you really like the person. But then secondly, again, not even taking out the time to learn more about you, learn
Mm,
about the situation, just to kind of put it out there. That to me is a red flag. But I mean, again, love them from afar.
right, right.
But it's good that you have somebody that is involved. So even kind of going back to what I was just saying about the girls, they do have somebody who is involved. They're seeing dad, provide affection and love and being happy with somebody. So that's a beautiful thing, even though there may be a lack from actual mom and dad, they're still seeing that connection with dad with somebody else. And especially if the girls have a good connection with your companion, that's a beautiful thing. And I'm happy to hear that you have happiness around you and someone's bringing happiness to you and your daughters. So I guess from there, are there like, because 3 years is kind of serious. I'm just saying, getting to the serious stage, you know? But are there any anything as far as recommendations that you would like to provide, not only to a father, but to a single parent who is looking to get back into the dating scene?
Right, right, right. And I want to say, I know a few single fathers now. So it's not just the women anymore. It's always better to have both involved. But if you find yourself in a situation where you're the dominant parent, just know that, like I said before, we can do everything they can do if you put your mind to it.
Right.
Yes, women have the natural nurturing spirit, but if you dedicate it, then you can always do whatever. Because it
Yep.
took a lot out of me. I was never affectionate, but my daughters pulled something out of me, and now I know, I can do whatever. I have a video on my YouTube, tips for single fathers, where I go down a list. If you got a daughter, take time out for yourself. Make sure you got balance. Make sure you staying engaged. I got a lot of tips for single fathers. I mentioned it on my YouTube channel. So yeah, single fathers, they just need to know, you put your mind to it. If you dedicate it, if you're passionate about your kids, then there's nothing holding you back. You don't have to be subjected to the narrative like fathers can't do it or we airheads.
Right.
we don't have enough love for the kids, or we don't know how to,
We don't know
it's
how to
just people
love.
just assume. They see me out with my kids. Oh, you got them for the weekend? No, I got them every day.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, what's something that you feel that every single father needs to know about his child, or if he has multiple children, what's something that you feel that they need to make sure that they know?
you just got to know every kid different. Deal with your kid. I have 2 kids. They different in their own little way. One of them, all I have to do is raise my voice a little bit. The one that's been and gifted behaviorally, it's a little extra work. I have to go back to my counseling. I have to do research. You have to tailor your parenthood to that specific kid. Yeah, you got your rules, you got your principles, but their temperaments are different. Their interests are different. The way they learn might be different.
Yeah.
So just always watch your kids, protect them. And look, man, if you got daughters, just be extra careful. As a man, even as a woman, you leaving your kids around different people, you leaving them with their cousins, speak up.
You better say that.
Because people always waiting for a stranger or this or that. Really, it's family members, it's friends of the family. So make yourself be known and speak up about keeping your hands to yourself. If anybody touch my kids, this is going to happen. Don't be scared to have uncomfortable conversations with people and let people know if my kids around yours, if anything happened, I need to be able to discipline them too.
Yep.
I counsel people, so I have a different perspective on life, and I really kind of know how it goes. And just too many women I've counseled, too many women friends that I've had, there's been too much history of different types of assault. So that's one big thing. With your kids, never be shy. Be assertive. When you're leaving them with people, when you're putting them in groups, just be vocal, be aware, put nothing past nobody, and always have an open line of communication with your kids, girls or boys, because you don't know what other kids experience, what they watching, who they around. And if an incident happens, regardless of how you react, the incident already done.
Ooh.
It's an uncomfortable situation, but me experiencing so much in life, I never leave a stone unturned with my daughters, and I always have uncomfortable situations. We go in here, hey, everybody keep their hands to themselves, no looking at pride. If anything happen, you run to an adult, don't step. I let other kids know, keep y'all hands to yourself. Touch my daughters, I'm gonna tear your butt up like I don't know you.
Right.
Straight up.
Wow. Wow. I hope y'all was listening because there was a lot of nuggets just dropped there and a lot of truth to that. Like me and another couple were just kind of talking about, like, I don't even know if I'm comfortable with my son going to somebody else's house at this time, just because you never know how other kids are raised. But that's a different topic for a different day. But again, I hope y'all was listening to Ruck, because everything he just said is 100% valid plus some. And
right.
Being assertive, oh man. So Ruck, I have a few more questions. So when making this decision, which again I know wasn't completely a decision of your own, but when you had the opportunity to receive full custody of your daughters, I'm sure everyone tried to give their opinions to you, right? Everybody got something to say. What is some of the best advice that you feel you received?
The best advice I received, which I heard a few times from older people, was enjoy the space that you're in right now with your daughters. They would tell me that when they're 2, 3, but just enjoy the moments while they're young, while they're a little more dependent on you. The friends gonna come. I got girls, the boys gonna come.
Yeah.
This 2023, the girls might come.
The girl, I'm about to, yeah. Everybody
So
coming, everybody.
when I heard that information, it just really soaked in, like, enjoy right now. Enjoy while they're young. Enjoy while they kind of need you and they value you. They'll value you later, but in a different way. And then they'll really value you after they get through that stage of, friends and worried about other people. So yeah, I took that advice, and I'm always cherishing the moment. right
Right.
now, right here,
In this moment. Yep.
in this moment.
Nope. Yeah. I mean, as a parent, it's a whirlwind, but it's a beautiful thing as well because every day is different. I have to be honest, I am dreading my son growing up. But at the same time, like the fact that he's about to be 2 is just it's not sitting well with me because the time flies by so fast. But like you said, it's important that you cherish those moments, that you sit in that moment, take in what's taking place. You know, when he's just out making little noises, driving his little cars, I'm capturing those moments, not for everybody else, but for myself, where I can look back on it as he continues to grow and reflect on what we were doing during that time. So time
Yeah,
waits for no one, but
yeah, yeah. I was messing with them one day. This was at the beginning of last year, and they both were talking about the same little boy. And I'm like, y'all know y'all can't like the same boy. Who is this boy? I'm gonna go out there and beat his butt. I'm just teasing them, and they both blushing. And a little one like, you can't go to, because I say I'm gonna go out there and beat his butt, and she like, Dad, you can't go to our school. You a grown ass man. And I'm like, what? Like, what is, you know what I'm saying? So at one time it's like, no, don't. But
don't
at
say
the other
that.
time
Yeah.
it's funny because it's like she put two and two together and she like, you can't go to our school. But there's always moments where they're saying stuff or they mind working in different ways where I'm just
Yeah.
caught off guard, you know. But like I said before, I don't want to just run them away from what they thinking or be overbearing.
Yeah.
So it's always a balance.
I would definitely say that's something that I appreciate that me and my parents have. Like as an only child, there were certain times where I never felt comfortable with, well, not, I'm not gonna say never, I didn't feel comfortable about talking about certain things, no matter how much my parents kept telling me, like, we're an open book. You can talk to us about anything. Come to us about, I'm like, no, I'm not talking about this. But now I really understand. And I feel like as a child continues to get older, they will get tested. They'll have moments where they test you. And parents, you got to be ready. You know, you don't want to erupt on something that they come to you and feel comfortable talking to you about, and then they'll never come back to you again because of how you reacted. And so, yeah, with the time, it's gonna come different conversations and different things. But look, I wish we had our opportunity to keep going, but you shed so much great light when it comes to fatherhood because typically we're talking about motherhood, but again, it's two sides. It's it's parenthood, but at the same time, just being able to get a father's perspective, especially a father that is fully invested into his daughter's life. So thank you so much for taking out the time to talk to us today, Ruck. Really appreciate it. Again, be sure to go check out his podcast on YouTube, The Knowledge Trap, right?
The Knowledge
Perfect.
Trap with Brotha Z, for sure, for sure.
Yes, go check them out. Now, before we end, y'all know I have to provide an inspirational quote of the day. And it says, the best inheritance a parent can give his children is a few minutes of his time each day. And that's by O.A. Batista. Ruck and I have elaborated on that plenty of times. So we've been speaking volume on that. But yeah, take a moment, spend time with your child as often as you can because that time is going to fly by really quickly. And you don't want to look back with the woulda, shoulda, coulda that you should have spent more time with your child. So take the time, let them know that you're there. Go ahead, Ruck.
I got one little inspirational thing too.
Mm-hmm.
The child who is rejected by the village will eventually burn the village down to feel the warmth of the village. That's an old African proverb.
Ooh, you better go. You better
Hey,
come with it.
I'm out here, man. You know,
Look, you better come with it.
for
And that's the
sure.
truth. We see that today too often.
Mm-hmm.
Too often. If you
It,
watch, I
it's
don't watch the news, but if you watch the news, social media still keep me updated with everything going on in the world. So if you keep in tune, man, you better love on your village. You better love on these kids. All
no,
right.
no doubt.
Look, thank you for putting that in there. But that is going to be our time for today. I definitely want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow, comment, share. Somebody else can gain some insight from this as well. So don't hold it to yourself. Give it to other people. And be sure to tune into the next episode. It will be season 3 finale, as I'm going to recap this last year. I can't believe it's already been a year come April of me launching my podcast. And so time's moving so fast, but I do want to reflect on maybe the challenges, the opportunities, and highlight some of the great things that's taken place this year of having I'm the Mama podcast. So be sure to tune in. And until then, be sure to keep your head up because your little one is watching and always admiring you. Continue to take care of yourself. I'm your host, Ashley L., and I look forward to seeing you next time on I'm the Mama podcast. Take care.
Appreciate it.
You're
Later.
welcome.